Coming up next on Veterans Matters, Danielle Downs, Veteran Services Advisor from Lakeland College, will be here to talk about the GI Bill. In particular, the latest details about the post-9/11 bill and what you need to know. That's coming up next, so stay right here. Well, Danielle, thanks for coming by Veterans Matters. We're talking about the GI Bill,
Yes.
something you deal with all the time at Lakeland
Day
in
in,
your,
day out, yes.
in your job, so
Yes.
you're well versed in the GI
I
Bill.
am.
Why don't you start first by telling what is the GI Bill and are there different versions of it?
There's the main GI Bill
Okay.
that is out there. There's different chapter benefits under
Okay.
the GI Bill, but the GI Bill basically is a benefit for men and women who have served or are currently serving in the armed forces. So you have those who are active duty, who come off of active duty, do their time on active duty, come off, and then have GI Bill benefits available to them. You also have National Guard and reservists who are eligible for the GI Bill as well. So there's different people, different categories under the GI Bill. There's even dependents and spouses who can have eligibility under the GI Bill as well. So there's a lot of different aspects to it.
Okay, and that's kind of why it gets a little complicated.
Oh yes, oh yes, very complicated, yes.
You mentioned there's different chapters. What do the different chapters mean?
Different chapters, that's how they identify which benefit under the GI Bill that you're eligible for. So depending on what group you're under, for example, there's Chapter 30, that would be for those students, men and women who were active duty, served active duty in the armed forces. Now they're done, they've served their time, they're done. They have Chapter 30 benefits available to them. National Guard and reservists, they have their own chapter. There's a couple of chapter benefits they're eligible for depending whether or not they've been deployed. And then dependents and spouses of veterans, that would be if the veteran is deceased and the death was service connected or 100% permanent and total disabled, then there's benefits for their children and their spouse to go to school. So there's several of them under there.
Lots of choices.
Yes.
So how can veterans use the GI Bill, and can it only be used for certain things, such as education?
The GI Bill mainly is for education. I mean, they obviously, for the GI Bill, have to go to college, enroll in college. They have to be actually pursuing a degree or certificate. So there's a lot of things to it that we have to make sure that they're following. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to go to school and just take whatever and give me my money. You have to kind of you have to have a goal, and that's the purpose of the GI Bill, is to help those students, coming back to school for some of them, or continuing their education, to have a goal, and is to help them reach that education goal, to attain it, financially helping them out a little bit.
And is it limited to if you're a veteran living in Illinois? Can you only use it at an Illinois educational
That's a
institution?
good question, because then that's a whole nother area. The GI Bill, think of that on the federal level, okay, with the VA. And then there is, through the state of Illinois, we also have a few programs through us, through Illinois, that are basically tuition assistance.
Okay.
So we have the Illinois Veterans Grant, the Illinois National Guard Grant, and the Illinois MIA POW Scholarship.
Okay.
And those help students, if they're attending an Illinois public college or university, then basically it's about 4 years of full-time schooling that can be paid for.
Wow.
So that's a tuition-based one, whereas the GI Bill benefits, basically that's a monthly stipend, except for one of them, which the post 9/11, that's one that's tuition and a stipend as well.
Okay. So can a veteran take advantage of both, or do you have to pick between one or the other?
No, you can, well, it depends on which benefit you're eligible for under the GI Bill.
Okay.
Most students that I deal with, and you'll see this probably across the board, most of them are going to have the GI Bill, and then they're either going to be eligible for, if they're for the state of Illinois, they have to have gone in for, let's say, the Veterans Grant, they have to have gone in from the state of Illinois when they entered active duty service and returned to Illinois upon separation, okay? Honorable discharge, served at least a year. they have that benefit available to them.
Okay.
So most of them are going to have a combination of, let's say, the Veterans Grant and the GI Bill, or the National Guard Grant and their GI Bill, the Illinois MIA POW and their GI Bill. So
Okay.
yes, you can combine them.
Okay, so if you're just wanting the GI Bill, does that mean then that you can go to any school if you live in Illinois, maybe you want to go to Indiana State?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That one nationwide.
Okay.
As long as that school is approved through the Department of Veterans Affairs, which most are.
Okay, that's what I
I
was
mean, you
going to
can
ask.
even get it for apprenticeships, on-the-job training, those kind of things as well.
Okay, so if a veteran is just coming back, they've been discharged, and what is the first step that they should take? You shouldn't just go to Lakeland or Eastern or U of I and sign up for classes.
No, you can, I mean, it kind of depends on what they want to do. A lot of times their first step is they're not sure. They know they have these benefits. They know they have some sort of benefits available to them, because some of them, when they're coming off of active duty specifically, they're going through out processing, and so they're going through a lot of classes, and they're letting them know, okay, when you get home, this is what you need to do. This is what you're eligible for. So a lot of them know, I have this benefit available to me. I'm just not sure what it entails.
Okay.
So a lot of them will, start with me or whoever their veterans advisor is at that college or university,
Okay.
and want to know what steps to take. Some of them may go ahead and apply to college, get set up for classes and then come see you. So it just kind of depends.
Okay, so you can do that. You can get yourself
can.
set up. Okay. What are some of the most, you deal with veterans all the time over at Lakeland. What are some of the most common questions you hear when they come into your office about the GI Bill?
How long is it going to take to get paid? That's the golden question.
It's a government-run program.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. A lot of times they want to know how long it's going to take. When can they expect to receive their first payment? How much is it going to be? Those tend to be really the most, I would say, the top three questions that they're asking.
So when it's tuition reimbursement, does the GI Bill money go right to the college?
No, the GI Bill money, all of them except for the post 9/11, which we may want to talk about that one separately,
Okay.
but post 9/11, all of them, that money goes to the student directly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a monthly stipend based on their enrollment, how
Okay.
many hours that they're attending that semester.
Okay. So they have
So there's
to-
different pay grades, payment levels according to, are they a half-time student, three-quarter-time student, full-time
Okay.
student.
And then they just turn that money around and pay their tuition.
If they don't have any other benefit
Okay.
of paying for their tuition, yes.
Okay. You mentioned the post 9/11 bill. Before I
Yes.
forget that, let's
Yes.
talk about what that is.
Right, that is the newest GI Bill.
Okay.
I guess
This is
they
a federal-
refer to it, yes,
federal,
the
okay.
federal. I guess they refer to it as the latest and greatest GI Bill. It can, individuals eligible for that could have been on active duty, or even National Guard reservists are eligible for that one as well. This one, again, it's federal benefit. This one, however, can be applied towards tuition and fees. Okay, so there's a section of it that is tuition and fee based, and then there's a monthly housing allowance that the student is eligible for as well.
Okay.
So, and there's certain percentage levels that the student can be eligible at. So, but that one that opened it up for a lot more students. The post 9/11 did.
Okay.
It's not, and students, what I always encourage students, especially Illinois is I think we're maybe one of two or one of three states that has state benefits for veterans
Okay.
and National Guard
Okay.
guardsmen. So I always recommend that students, they need to know exactly what they're eligible for and what is open to them.
Okay.
If a student elects to go post 9/11, they can't go back then and use their old GI Bill
Okay.
that they have.
So what is it about that post 9/11 bill that has opened it up for so many
The post 9/11
students?
GI Bill opened it up to, first of all, one of the big things is the benefits can be transferred to dependents.
Okay.
So if we have some veterans who decide, I'm not, college isn't for me, or been there, done that, or they already maybe have a degree. So they know they have these benefits available to them. They can transfer these benefits then to their spouse and their children.
Okay. That's
So
really
that is
nice.
huge.
Yeah.
Yes, with the other GI Bill chapters, that benefit is not available to them.
Unless the veteran has
Correct.
passed away.
And
Okay.
yes, and then with National Guards and reservists, they can also transfer the benefits over to dependents as well.
Okay.
So that benefit, I think the biggest part was with this one is that it pays tuition and fees as well.
Okay.
Whereas the other GI bills, the different chapters, it's just that monthly stipend. But this one gives you basically that monthly stipend and tuition and fees.
Okay. So
Plus, and it also has a yearly books and supplies stipend
Wow.
of up to $1,000.
So I'm guessing most of the veterans that come into your office are using that bill?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Oh, this is more than you wanted to know. It
information.
depends. It depends. You got to, because this is where you need to be informed and educated and know, because with the post 9/11 GI Bill, the monthly stipend is basically, it's a housing allowance.
Okay.
And they're looking at how they determine that housing allowance is for the zip code that the college is located in. Okay? For a soldier with an E5 status with dependents. Okay?
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
there's
write
a
that down.
formula. Yes.
Yeah, a formula.
There's a formula, you know, and I can go to a website and easily type that in. I think for us, for Lakeland and Coles County, it's around roughly $960, $990 a month.
Okay.
If they're 100% eligible at
Okay.
that 100% tier. Okay, and they're a full-time student. So they have that benefit available to them. The other thing, let me back up and tell you, is with the post 9/11 GI Bill for active duty men and women, they didn't have to pay into that one. Whereas with
Okay.
the old GI Bill, you had to pay in
Okay.
$1,200 that first year you were in.
Okay.
You also have 15 years to use your post 9/11.
Okay.
Whereas with the old GI Bill, it's 10 years.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're an Illinois veteran, okay, and let's say you're active duty, Illinois veteran, and you're coming back to school, you're done now, coming back to school, it may not be to your benefit to use post 9/11
Okay.
because you've got the veterans grant that's going to pay your tuition. Okay, so you have that benefit. Your chapter 30, which is the old GI Bill that you paid into, that monthly allowance stipend is roughly almost $1,500 a month.
Okay.
So there's kind of a difference, a pretty big chunk of money there that they could be losing.
Okay.
Okay? So that's why you really need to know. Now, I'm not going to make that decision for them. I can present them with the information. We always refer them to the GI Bill website.
Okay.
Always, you're going to be referred to the GI Bill
What
website.
is the GI Bill website?
It
We're
is,
putting it on the screen.
yeah, www.gibill.va.gov.
GI Bill. Okay. Okay. That's an important one.
Yes, and they will break it down for you. I mean, you can go in there and they give you different scenarios. And you can always contact the VA as well and
Right.
talk to them. But as a veterans advisor, I'm never going to tell you what to do. I don't want to
Okay.
be put in that position.
Right.
But I do want that student to be informed and to know what options that they have, that they do have options.
Okay. Do a lot of veterans coming into your office, have they already kind of researched this and have some idea of which route they want to go, or are they coming?
Very few.
Okay.
Very few. Every now and then you will get someone that will come in and know exactly what they want to do. They've read up on it. But I mean, coming into it brand new, it's overwhelming. I mean, I still get overwhelmed. I still have to rely on colleagues and, people on the VA level for questions and stuff. So, every now and then, I'll get a student that will come in and has already applied for their benefits. They've already sent in their application for the benefits. They have their eligibility letter, so they're ready to go. A lot of times, though, it's me sitting down with them, talking to them, and then going through what they're
Okay.
eligible for.
So how do you keep on top of all this? I'm confused as we're sitting here.
Yes.
I mean, how do you keep up with this?
There's different organizations that we belong to. I work in the financial aid office. That's where I'm based out of at Lakeland. So on the financial aid level, we have our Illinois Association of Financial Aid Administrators. There's also the Midwest and the National Association. They're always constantly giving us updates, doing webinars. There's always our conferences. And then there's the AVICO organization that I'm a member of, which is the Association of Veterans Education Certifying Officials. It's comprised of pretty much the Midwest. I mean, it's quite a few states. And so our annual conference that we have every year, it's coming up in July. So we'll be attending that. The VA is always there. They always have several sessions. So you just kind of keep up on updates through that, through listservs. And colleagues, you just kind of rely on each other, and especially those who've been in this position for several years and listservs. Those are amazing.
So talk
honestly.
about in the time that you've been in your position, you're busier than there are more veterans
yes.
coming back to school.
Yes.
How much has it increased, do you think?
Oh,
the traffic through your office?
Since I started, and I started this full-time in 1998.
Okay.
Okay, so I've been doing this a little while. Back then, I maybe certified 150, maybe I would say 130, 150 students for their GI Bill benefits. Now it's well over 200.
Okay.
It's increased dramatically, especially with the war when that started, and students now coming back, and especially the reduction in force. I mean, they're kind of that came down from President Obama as far as budget cuts and stuff. They're starting to do reduction in force, and a lot of students, a lot of soldiers are getting out, so a lot of them are coming to school. So it is dramatically increased.
I'm curious, as a non-veteran, obviously this is a benefit for our soldiers, which is great. They deserve something like this. Where does all the money come from? You said that they pay into that. Where does all the money come to fund the GI Bill?
GI Bill, it's federal. I mean, it's through the federal government. Good question. I mean, they're pulling it from everywhere, I think.
Right.
Tax money, taxpayers, our tax money, all of that. Now, the state, with the Veterans Grant, the National Guard grant, the state of Illinois, we know the financial situation is very bleak. So reimbursement from the state for that, a lot of the colleges are having to basically eat that money, if you will, absorb that cost. Because reimbursement through the state is few and far between for that, but it's an entitlement. So the student is, if they're eligible for it, they're entitled to it, they're going to receive that.
But for the GI Bill, though, they do pay into that. Is that just
the 12? In active duty.
In active. Okay.
Active duty, yes. And I don't know. There's been talk about eventually maybe phasing that out. Not having that chapter it's the Chapter 30 GI Bill where they pay in when they go in the first 12 months. It's $1,200. And there's been talk about eventually phasing that out and maybe just having the post 9/11.
Okay.
But you don't have to pay into the post 9/11.
Okay.
So I would not want to be the one on the federal level making, no, you cannot pay me enough money.
I would imagine your documents for the GI Bill are probably that high.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Changing all the time.
Yep.
It's almost like looking at the IRS tax code, probably.
Yeah.
So are there any changes in the GI Bill in the foreseeable future? I mean, the post 9/11 bill is the newest thing. Do you see that changing, or are there some other things?
I don't think any other, fingers crossed, no new GI bills will be introduced, different versions of it. The post 9/11 GI Bill, that one has had a few different changes made to it since it went into law.
Okay.
So I think they keep kind of tweaking that. When it first came out, everyone was just scrambling, trying to figure out, how does this work? What do we do? I mean, it did increase as far as a veterans advisor, certifying official. In my capacity, it did increase our workload quite a bit. There's a little bit more to it than the other chapters. So through feedback from different organizations, Congress went back and they've revamped it and tweaked some things. So I think the post 9/11 GI Bill is probably here to stay for for the foreseeable future. I don't see a new one being introduced, just maybe tweaks and changes and updates.
Old ones or old chapters be phased out, do you think?
I mean, I've heard talk about it. I've heard talk. I don't know how feasible that would be, but there has been talk about that.
Well, let's talk here. We've got about 4 minutes left or so. Give us some advice for someone that's going to apply for the GI Bill, or if they've just come home from their tour of duty and they're thinking about, I think I'm going to go to college. What advice do you have for them to make this transition a little bit easier?
Sure. First thing, they need to get in contact with that college, that VA person there at that college or university, and make contact. We all, as veterans advisors, certifying officials, basically we're doing the same thing, but we kind of have our own way about going, and doing it. So get with your veterans advisor, let them know that you're going to be coming, when you're starting school, and that you need to, get your benefits up and going, and what is the process? What steps do I need to be taking? Most veterans offices at that college and university, you can go to their website and they're going to explain to you and have it detailed what that student needs to be doing, what are the basic steps you need to do. Also check out the GI Bill website.
Yeah.
That is huge. There's a lot of information out there. And you can do the initial application for your benefits from the GI Bill website.
Okay.
So they need to do that. But as soon as they, let's say those who are active duty are coming home from their service time, they need to, as quickly as possible, get with that college and university, especially the VA person, and start that paperwork, because it is a lengthy process. Initial application processing times can take weeks, like 6 to 8 weeks.
So don't
delay
do it the week before school.
Right, and think that you're going to have immediate results, because you're not.
Yeah.
They back pay. There's never an issue with that, but the VA is so understaffed. I mean, it's backlogged like we all are, and they're working very hard and as fast as they can to process claims, but it's quite a lengthy process. So they need to, as soon as they know that they've made that decision, I'm going to go to school, I want to utilize these benefits, get in touch with that veterans advisor, so we can be letting them know, in a timely manner what steps they need to be taking.
Okay, so if they've done all that, what sort of paperwork or what should they bring to your office?
Most importantly is their DD-214, which is their discharge papers.
Okay.
If they were active duty, that's automatically going to be issued to them.
Okay.
Very important document. They never want to lose that. Always need to have that on hand. If you're National Guard or reservist, we're going to ask for a copy of the DD-214 from when they went to basic and their training after basic. There's a few other, pieces of paperwork that we're going to need, but DD-214 is huge. I mean, that's the main thing pretty much for all of them.
Okay.
If you're a dependent or a spouse of a veteran, there's going to be some additional paperwork that we're going to need. But again, that's going to be listed on that school's website, or even just in speaking with that veterans advisor, they will detail it for them.
Okay. So any other challenges that you're seeing veterans face when they're coming back to school? I know you're not in a counselor, but certainly they're facing maybe some other challenges other than just trying to figure out this GI Bill stuff. It is a transition.
Oh, it's a very big transition, and there's a lot of focus on transitioning them from military life to civilian life to just being a student on campus. There are just so many. The VA's done a great job as far as offering seminars to us, to even the veterans and their families, giving them information about, there's a lot of them dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, and you see that on a daily basis with a lot of your students. So the VA's done a great job of trying to educate us and letting us know, giving us the information and the resources to be able to help these students. So they are facing a lot. Some of them, the transition, they seem to make it pretty smooth. Others, it is difficult, and you see that.
Okay, and thanks to people like you, we can get them into college and make that transition a little easier. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This is complicated stuff, and you just seem to have it all right here. I'm impressed.
It's a lot to it. I've been doing it for a while.
I'm sure it'll be changing, continuing.
Always changing, yes.
So thank you, Danielle, for coming.
Thanks for having me
on Veterans Matters.
Appreciate it.
If you have questions or comments about our show, please email them to the address on the screen or give us a call during regular business hours at 581-5956. Thanks for watching this edition of Veterans Matters.